Hey everyone, Scott Hansen here from NFL Red Zone, and you're watching the Super Fantasy Bros podcast. 1 hour of commercial-free podcasting starts now. Enjoy the show.
All right, welcome back to the Super Fantasy Bros podcast, brought to you in conjunction, as always, with the Old City Sports Network. 10 days until football is back.
Let's go.
Oh, yeah. Just 10 days. Unreal. Can't believe we made it to this point. I feel like I say that every year, but it's always a great feeling when football's back. Unfortunately, T-Gods could not make it today for the wide receiver and tight end ranks. We will obviously try to chime in a little bit as to what his thoughts would be. Unfortunately, lost a dog this week, so condolences to my mans. If you want to send some love to him his way on Instagram, definitely go do that. But we are in the heart of draft season, so we're wrapping up our preseason draft prep content today, breaking down both tight ends and wide receivers. As always, if you're here live, have any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat. We will get to all of them when we get a chance. But tight ends and wide receivers, going to take a little bit of time here, so let's jump right into the tight ends. And as I always like to start off with our strategies for drafting each position. So for tight ends, it's become even more of a premium the last few seasons for grabbing the top end guys, just because they've been kind of stretching that gap between being either elite or just one of the random throw a dart tight ends. Are you grabbing one of those guys? Do you feel like you must do that this year, or are you waiting till later?
Just based off of the draft that we're all in on the one podcast team, I'm not a fan of taking the tight end early, especially in the first round, mainly because I don't have any familiarity with it, so I don't know what to do when round 2 comes around. But I guess it's worth it. But all my life I've just lived on the waiver wire for tight ends, and maybe that's why I haven't won a chip yet, and that's what I need to do. But I can't pay that price.
I think I'm aiming for one of those elite guys this year. I feel like 95% of championship teams have one of those top tight ends on the roster. And I think with tight end being positioned in your league, you have to get one of those top guys to be a competitor.
Yeah, I think I've done a handful of drafts this year. In a lot of drafts, I've ended up with Hockenson. I think in a couple of our leagues that we share a team, we have Hockenson. And then we did do Kelsey in one league. I don't think I have many leagues where I've waited too long. We do have the one super flex league where we ended up with Dalton Schultz. Still not too bad.
Yeah, it's not bad at all.
I think we've, as a podcast, have been leaning more towards just grabbing one early, but I really think it also depends on obviously draft slot, what's available, what kind of fits your team. If you're in one of those middle 4 through 8, maybe even pick 9, in a 12-team league. Obviously, if Kelsey's sitting there and you want to consider that at that point, go for it. I just saw him go at 2 in one of my leagues. So
wow.
Second overall, I was third pick.
That's absurd.
Jefferson and then Kelsey, and I was like,
I licked my lips.
I guess I'm taking Jamar Chase easy here. So tight end definitely has been, people are reaching more and more. So definitely keep an eye on that.
They'll probably prove me wrong
top doc tech
by saying this, but I feel like there's 13 tight ends, at least by my rankings, that I would be comfortable with compared to other years where obviously it's the 5 and then the rest are all dart throws, up to 13 where I'd have Dalton Kincaid. So even Chig and then Dalton Schultz, those outside the top 10, I'd be fine with those. And so those outside last year, I don't know who would be outside the top 10, but they all stunk.
Yeah, I think there's some upside to be had at tight end down there, but for me personally, I view after the top 5 for me this year as just there's still a bunch of risk baked into each one of those guys. You could talk down about any single one of those players and be this is why they're going to be mid again. I have Kyle Pitts below that mark, and I'm still not confident drafting him. So I think Goddard is my cutoff this year for if I don't get one of those top 5, I'm fine waiting to be one of the last people to take one. I don't need to reach at that point.
Right.
I agree.
It's all just kind of a melting pot there. Let's get into the rankings. I don't think we need to discuss the top spot this season. Chiefs have no major weapons outside of Kelsey. Do we all have Kelsey at 1?
Fortunately.
Indeed.
Q regretfully does, but
smart.
It won't be the same next year.
Yeah.
Always preying on the downfall. You were right when you said the 1 year. He was
Clock's right twice a day. Or the clock.
More interesting discussion becomes for that number 2 spot for tight end. Seems to be between Mark Andrews and TJ Hockenson. I think Andrews is going a little bit sooner than TJ Hockenson is. Who do you have ranked higher, and who do you think will have more value based on their ADP?
Based on ADP, definitely Hockenson.
Yeah, I have Hockenson ranked at 2 myself. I think after that trade from Detroit last year, he just kind of meshed right in with that Minnesota offense. And Mark Andrews kind of had a down year. I know Lamar wasn't healthy all year, but that kind of seeing TJ Hockenson be productive in the Vikings offense and Mark Andrews struggle a little bit kind of gave TJ Hockenson the upside for me coming into this year.
Yeah, I just pulled it up. I have Mark Andrews is going 28th overall as the number 2 tight end, and then Hockenson's going 46th overall as the number 3 tight end. Like I've been eating Hockenson up at that ADP, or even sooner. Like have not been afraid to grab him like 5 spots ahead, because I'm right there with you, Matt. I actually have Hockenson at 2 as well.
Hockenson also has the better quarterback.
That's
a stretch. Yeah, I'm just like consistency was there towards the end of the season for Hockenson. With Kirk last year, Mark Andrews was a little bit up and down, so I am still a little bit weary about that. And they added some weapons. Just feel a little bit more comfortable with Hawk this year on a consistency basis. But yeah, both obviously we have at 2 and 3. Let's go through a few of our biggest differences at the tight end spot. Obviously, not as many positions as when we went through running back and wide receiver, so only a few guys to talk about. Starting with Darren Waller, currently going as tight end 551 overall, just 5 picks after TJ Hockenson. Q, you have him all the way up at 4. T-God's and Matt. T-God's obviously not with us, but he has him with Matt at 6, right in the middle there, and I'm all the way down at 9 for Waller. I will start, I guess. I just don't love Waller this year. I didn't love him last year coming off of the injury, and still had an up and down season. I think I had him at 9 last year as well when he was going around 5. Obviously, I don't want to prey on his downfall. Like, I just think tight end getting over the age of 30, and I don't think he's on that like elite level that Kelsey is on. So I'm not in love with Darren Waller. New team, he has to learn a new offense. I do think it's going to take some time to kind of get integrated. So Waller, I think he has the potential to push towards top 5 again for sure. Like, obviously, we've seen him do it. He has the talent, but I think there's still a little bit of risk baked into that. So I'm not in love with him this year. I guess, Q, you can say why you do love Waller this year.
Yeah, he has risk because he's only played 2 full seasons, but those 2 full seasons he played, he was tight end 2 and tight end 3. So obviously, if he plays the entire season, he will. I believe he's guaranteed to be in that top 3. Don't make me put him number 1.
Spicy.
The Giants, obviously, they haven't gotten any new weapons. Paris Campbell, like a weapon that could take anything away from Darren Waller. So we see it in the preseason. We hear it in training camp. I think Darren Waller is bound to break out back to old Darren Waller, back to 2020, and 2019 Darren Waller for sure.
He's going to get a second wind.
Yep.
Yeah, I think he could. Don't sleep on Jalen Hyatt, 3rd round wide receiver for the Giants.
No, I'm sleeping.
No, I'm just kidding. I would sleep on him as well. Yeah, I do think Waller could end up being a target monster for Daniel Jones. I just hope he's able to stay healthy and stay on the field. Just a little bit more risk for me. Someone that I like more than Waller this year, maybe not everybody here, Dallas Goedert, currently going ADP tight end 7 overall, and you can actually get him at 59, so I guess 8 picks after Waller, kind of in that same range. T-Gods actually would have been defending this the most. He has him all the way up at 4. Me and Matt both have him at 5. Q, you have him at ADP at 7. Matt, you want to say why we're in on Goddard?
Yeah, I mean, he was a top 5 tight end last year before he got hurt. The Eagles' offense didn't really had any pieces that are going to hurt him, or I think his target share. I think if he stays healthy last year, he's easily a top 5 tight end. This offense is going to throw the ball as much as we do love running it. Hurts is one of the more efficient passers, and any pass catcher on this offense is going to do well. So I want all shares of this offense. No bias intended.
Yeah, I'm with you there. Like, this man is due for some like positive touchdown regression. Like he's got to get some more targets in the red zone. He had 3 last year, obviously only played 12 games. He had 4 the year before, 3 the year before that, had missed some games there too. 5 in 2019 and 4 in 2018. Like even when Ertz was there, he was scoring about the same amount of touchdowns. Like he's our sole tight end. I think they're going to try and make it a point to get him the ball more in the red zone this year. He's got to be a bigger part of the offense. And we saw it last year, like you said. He was on pace to be a top 5 tight end. Obviously, the injury kind of derailed that a little bit. So I'm in on Goddard this year for sure.
I will say, if Goddard was playing with Wentz when it was Ertz, Goddard would insane because he can break a tackle. He would have been Ertz times a million. But unfortunately, he has to deal with all these other weapons, or fortunately. So that's why it's just being the third option. Maybe the fourth option, because I think it's A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, run the ball, and then Goddard. So,
yeah. I mean, Goddard was just so solid last year when he was healthy. He had at least 9 points in every single game except for 2 that he played. And then some of those were obviously higher as well, like up to 24, 17, 13 here and there. Like,
just stop fumbling.
Yeah. Goddard, top 5. Lock it in.
Mm-hmm. Fuck you.
Last one here where we got a big difference. Dalton Schultz. He's currently going tight end 11. Q right on ADP again. Has him ranked at 11. T-God's a little bit above at 9. Matt a little bit higher at 8. I'm all in on Dalton Schultz. I have him at 6. Right after Goddard. I know it's not the sexiest pick. I know there's a lot of risk involved. But like I said, after Goddard, it's kind of all risk. So I'm risking it on the fact that I really don't trust any other pass catcher on the Texans that has like a pretty good track record. Obviously, Robert Woods does, but I think he's a little bit past his prime at this point.
He's past Father Time.
Yeah, and outside of that, like I'm not really worried about guys like Nico Collins, John Mechie, whoever else they have on the offense. Yeah, Tank Dell. Like I think they all have their own like a little bit of upside here or there, but I think CJ Stroud's going to find his reliable target in Dalton Schultz. When you're looking for that first down on third down, CJ Stroud's going to be feeding Dalton Schultz. I think he's just going to get a decent target volume. He's arguably the most talented pass catcher on this offense right now. So
you're not worried about Brevin Jordan?
No, not anymore. He is.
I think he's hurt anyway.
He was one of my sleepers.
And he's That's disgusting.
Not him. He's not him. Dalton Schultz is him. So I'm in on Dalton Schultz. Q, I guess you don't really have to defend why you don't like him. You just have him at.
Yeah, I like him. So, just not that much.
Yeah. All in on Schultz. All right. That's it for like major differences we had in our rankings. A lot of the other ones are relatively close. So let's do some early and late round targets at the tight end position. Q, start us off with your early tight end target.
Okay, so my early round obviously would be Darren Waller, but I can't speak on it too much. So I'm going with George Kittle. When Brock Purdy came in last season, it was kind of up and down, but the last 4 or 5 weeks of the season, he was on a rampage with touchdowns at least. So I think that continues this season. Deebo Samuel I'm basically an afterthought when Brock Purdy's under center because they're not running the ball as much and they have Christian McCaffrey. So I think George Kittle will be key to this offense being successful. And he's a monster also when healthy.
Yeah, completely agree there. If Kittle is on the field, he's easily in that top 3 discussion at tight end. Matt, who was your early round tight end target?
I had to steal Q's guy. I'm going to go Darren Waller. Strictly based off volume, I don't really see too much talent in the pass catching group for the New York Giants. I think they brought in Darren Waller to play a big part in their offense. And just like Dalton Schultz for CJ Stroud is going to be the safety blanket, I think that's going to be what Darren Waller is for Daniel Jones. And the Giants don't have the greatest team or the greatest defense, so I think they're going to try to rely on Saquon as much as they can, but eventually they are going to have to throw, and I think Waller is going to be the number 1 target. So strictly based off volume, I think he's going to put up numbers week in and week out.
The modern-day Jeremy Shockey.
Something like that.
Yeah, kind of like that, I guess. Whatever. Yeah, Waller's not a bad early round target. Just not as big on him. My early round target, pretty obvious one, TJ Hockenson. I already touched on him a little bit as to like that we've got him in a lot of drafts. I think he has just as much value as Mark Andrews, and he's going 18 picks later. He showed last year that he can be in that top tight end discussion. He did finish number 2. And when he did get traded to Washington, he was putting up, get traded to Minnesota. I don't know why I said Washington. I think because when he got traded there, his first game was versus Washington. I was just looking at that. When he got traded there, he started putting up consistent numbers with Kirk Cousins. And I think even more so this year without Thielen, he's going to be relied upon as that second option in this offense. So as long as Hockenson is healthy this year, I do think he's going to be a great early round target at tight end. Q, back to you for your late round tight end target.
Late round tight end target, kind of talked about him already. Dalton Schultz. He is obviously the best receiving option on this team. He will be relied on often. We've seen him finish tight end 3. That's the year that I was hating on him because I said there's no way this guy is any good. But just like Darren Waller, he's in a scenario where he's probably the only one that should be getting the ball when the ball's in the air. So yeah, Dalton Schultz, and he's still in Texas, so he's drinking the same water. So he's still going to be as good.
Yeah, definitely could be pretty solid this year. Matt, late round target for you.
Also going to go another one of Q's guys, David Njoku. I think aside from Amari Cooper, I do like Elijah Moore, but it's really those two and David Njoku, not really much else to throw to. We'll see how much they try and get Nick Chubb involved in the passing game. But Njoku's had his ups and downs. He still finished tight end 10 last year, missing 3 games and exiting one early, I believe. So, if he could just string together a full season, stay healthy, he will be a big part of this offense. And I can see him putting up numbers, maybe not like sexy tight end 1 numbers, but he'll get what you have to get done.
I'm calling for a sexy Njoku season. It's coming.
All right.
I like it.
Top 5?
Top 5. Number 5. Kelsey, I see ya.
That's spicy. My late round tight end target is Hockenson's replacement, Sam Laporta. Hockenson was pretty decent through that first half of the season with Detroit last year. Obviously, he took it up a notch when he got to Minnesota. And rookies are a little bit risky, but at his ADP, he's pretty much going for free in drafts. I think he's going as tight end 19 overall, 166th. So you can get him for basically free if you're looking for a late round tight end that might have some upside to pair with somebody that you drafted later that you're not so confident in. Maybe like Pat Freiermuth, you're looking to add someone that like as a backup in case Freiermuth has a down year or whatever. I think the guy to look for is Sam Laporta. He's definitely someone that can take over in this offense in terms of like that tight end role that played such a huge part. We saw it really missing from this Lions offense in the second half of the season last year. They had no names running out there at tight end. Like it was ugly.
Rock, right?
Yeah. Like just guys you like shouldn't have ever heard of. Yeah. They literally could have used Dan Campbell. And I don't think their wide receiver room is that deep. Obviously, Amon-Ra is going to be the target monster. Jameson Williams is suspended for the first 6 games. And after that, it's Josh Reynolds and Marvin Jones and Khalif Raymond. Like it's not pretty. I do think Sam Laporta can kind of carve out that second, third option on this offense consistently. They obviously rely on the running backs a ton here, but if Laporta can get a little bit of that work, he has some upside this year for sure. And then one other guy I also like, Zach Ertz. Keep an eye on him.
Oh, God.
Keeping an eye on him.
Tight end 3 through 10 weeks last year. Obviously coming off major
why
injury.
is everyone so sleep on him?
They think Trey McBride's taking over some of the snaps and targets. Like,
Disrespect.
if Zach Ertz is healthy, they're going to roll him out there. Just throw the balls at him. Let's do bold takes. T-Gods, we're missing you. We're missing Millie too. We love you. Tight end bold takes. Let's start with you, Matt. Bold take.
All righty. Evan Ingram will finish outside the top 10 tight ends this year. If you look back at his game log last year, there were 6 games, I believe, where he had over 50 yards receiving. And if it wasn't for that one monstrous week, that 40-point week, I think he would have finished right around like tight end 10 through 12, somewhere in that mix of the mid tight ends. So that gave him a big boost. Calvin Ridley coming in this year looks good as ever. Definitely going to take away some of that target share. Well, a lot of that target share. Christian Kirk still looked great last year. So I just think there's a lot of weapons on this offense, ETN out of the backfield, that Evan Ingram, who really wasn't even getting a significant target share, it's only going to drop.
He really did stink outside of those 4 weeks.
He was pretty much a free agent in fantasy last year until those big weeks started rolling. And then he kind of got scooped up in a lot of leagues.
Yeah.
And then worked his way into that top 5. But yeah, he was not super consistent. He had a few good weeks early on where he was up and down, but
yeah.
He
was a
not
handful
consistent.
of good weeks, one great week.
Yeah. Definitely going to lose some target share with Ridley back. Zay Jones still there. They've got some options.
Yep.
Do not hate that one at all. Q, bold take.
We'll just keep it brief. Darren Waller finishes tight end 1. He is basically in the same scenario as Travis Kelce, but I just like Darren Waller more. I think that I'm not gonna go that far. I'm just gonna stop talking. I was gonna say some crazy stuff, but yeah, I think he's bound for that tight end 1 season. Kelce, we're tired of it. I'm tired of it.
You're just tired of it. It's just you.
It's done. I promise you, it will be done, and I'll be 2 for 7 on my takes with Travis Kelce
and the Chiefs.
Yeah.
Oh, all right. Darren Waller, number 1. Mine's not as bold. Cole Kmet, top 5. He was number.
That's bold.
That's
pretty bold.
Yeah, don't sleep. He was number 7 last year.
Okay, that's not saying much. Ingram was 5.
Yeah, exactly. Tight end stinks. That's what I'm saying. And Cole Kmet can easily work his way into that top 5. Obviously, they added DJ Moore. He's going to take a significant portion of this target share. But with better options, I do think Justin Fields is going to try to move the ball a little bit more. And in the red zone, we saw it last year. He was looking for Cole Kmet. He had 7 touchdowns. And I think that's something that's going to continue after no touchdowns in 2021. So as this connection is getting stronger with Fields, he's going to become the red zone reliant target. And obviously DJ Moore is not a big red zone threat as a little wide receiver. Darnell Mooney's also being floated around there in surprise trade talks. So Cole Kmet seems like he's going to be one of the more consistent pieces on this offense. Obviously, they're going to run the shit out of the ball on this offense. It's going to be Herbert and Foreman, and then Justin Fields is going to use those legs. Obviously, the passing stats weren't great, but I think they're going to improve. It's year 3 now for Fields. He has some room for improvement, and I think they're going to try to move the ball a little bit more downfield. So Cole Kmet, get him in top 5 this year.
First 4 weeks,
get him
0, 0, 6, 4.
Who for Kmet?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was not great early on, but the relationship continued to strengthen throughout the season, and probably from week 8 on, he was definitely top 5. So
all I gotta say is keep on topic real quick. Keep an eye out for Jimmy Graham. He caught a touchdown on Saturday, so whatever he was doing, wandering around in the street that one weekend, he's back on the team, and they're tight end 1, better than Juwan, that's for sure.
Jimmy Grandpa, get him out of here. That dude's a fossil.
I thought they would have released him. I don't know what he was doing.
He'll probably catch 4 touchdowns just randomly, sporadically throughout the year for a total of 40 fantasy points.
Taysom Hill to Jimmy Graham for a touchdown. That's what it's going to be.
I would hate that.
It's going to be ugly.
The ultimate vulture.
My wife exposed me. That is I just said my wife. Feels so weird.
I know, that was weird, man.
That is a wrap for all of our positional rankings. We've tweaked them here and there, so check our website for a full list of our rankings broken down by position. If you think Matt is the best of all of us, his rankings are there, Q's are there, mine are there. We don't have a consensus, so you got to pick your favorite. Pick who you like the best.
Make your own.
We've broken down pretty much every team, every position with our rankings, thoughts, bold takes. So we appreciate you guys hanging out over the past few months. Coming up, we have 2 of our favorite episodes. Tomorrow, we will be back. 2nd annual NFL record predictions. And then next week, we will be doing our preseason award show, giving the spiciest takes possible, going through, handing out awards at each position. If you haven't been there before, make sure you are there next week. Stay tuned for all the upcoming content. We'll also get our rankings posted on Instagram as well, just for a clean look. If you guys are looking for that, make sure you're following us there and on Twitter. Also take advantage of our sponsors, helps us out a ton. Super FB for Underdog Fantasy, as I mentioned earlier, and take advantage of discounted sports gear at Fanatics. They're probably running a sale every single week. If you use the link in our bio, helps us out a ton. Get your favorite player's jersey before the season starts. Also, finally, make sure you follow the Old City Sports Network. Ton of other great podcasts, ton of sponsors we have over there. I think we have some cannabis sponsors now too.
Yeah.
we have some good stuff over there. Beard sponsors, get your beard groomed, check it out, and also some good podcasts. See you guys tomorrow. Peace.